of the delightful stories that Beatrix Potter wrote, like the one in the film that you've just seen, started off as private letters to the children of her friends and relatives. Beatrix drew pictures in the letters to amuse the children, one of whom was Noel Moore, the young son of Mrs. Annie Moore, who'd once been Beatrix's governess. Noel received many letters because he caught polio and had to spend a lot of time in bed. Then, one day, about 100 years ago, he received what was to become one of the most famous letters in the world. It said,
"My dear Noel, I don't know what to write to you, so I shall tell you a story about 4 little rabbits whose names were Flopsy, Mopsy, Cottontail, and Peter."
Well, as everybody knows, that letter came to be known all over the world as a book called The Tale of Peter Rabbit. Beatrix wrote many other letters to Noel, to his brother Eric, and to their sisters, as well as several other children. Eventually, it was Noel's mother, Annie Moore, who found some of the story letters so delightful that she suggested to Beatrix that they might be made into books. It was a historic suggestion. Beatrix borrowed the Peter Rabbit letter back, copied it out into an exercise book, and paid for 250 copies to be printed privately in black and white. The next year, 1902, a London company called Frederick Vaughan published the book in colour. The first 8,000 copies sold out immediately, and the little book hasn't stopped selling ever since. And today, Peter Rabbit is even on video. Of course, all those years ago, videos hadn't been invented, but Beatrix Potter's books quickly became famous. There were other story letters that she had written to children and later turned into books. These were her favourite stories because they were direct and personal. But she also wrote other stories, especially for publication, and dedicated a great many of these to children she knew. 2 of the lucky youngsters who received many letters from Beatrix Potter were cousins called Winifred and Louis. Winifred received early news of a big rat that had got into Beatrix Potter's house. Beatrix gave the rat a name, Samuel Whiskers, a wife, Anna Maria, and sure enough, they went into a book, which has also been made into a video.
What a splendid piece of good fortune, anybody. I fear it might be a little too heavy for me. Ah, well, as you wish.
The 2 girl cousins who knew all about Samuel Whiskers also received letters from Beatrix about her pet hedgehog.
"Dear Winifred, this is all that is to be seen of Mrs. Tiggy today. She went to sleep on Wednesday night, and I don't expect her to wake up till Sunday."
We all know that Mrs. Tiggy became Mrs. Tiggy Winkle, and in the same letter, Beatrix wrote,
"I have been drawing a frog today with a fishing rod. I think it is going to be a funny book."
Well, the frog became Jeremy Fisher. It was indeed a funny book, and now Jeremy has joined Mrs. Tiggywinkle in a funny video. The tale of Mrs. Tiggywinkle was dedicated to a little girl called Lucy, the very same Lucy who appears in the story. Beatrix also told the story of Jeremy Fisher to a little girl called Molly.
"My dear Molly, these are some pictures of a frog who went fishing and had a bite, but the fish jumped out of the boat before he could be put into his basket."
Beatrix Potter married late in life and never had any children of her own. But she knew a great many children and wrote them many letters. How lucky they were, those youngsters of 100 years ago. Perhaps we should be grateful to them. After all, if those children had never existed, some of the most enchanting stories in the world might never have been written.